All right, back in session. Yes, Gary.
May I address the board?
Yes, you may, sir.
The benefit of the research, or the recess, a foreclosed property purchase policy adopted July 9, 2014 has been located. Having the benefit of looking at that, the resolution I provided to you does not conform to that policy, primarily because that policy requires that the public purpose be identified in the resolution. The policy also calls for a legal description of each property. I don't think we have those tonight, and I would suggest to allow the board to act on something that you waive that aspect of the policy and go with the requirement of parcel ID numbers and addresses. Having said that, you have a resolution before you. I'd recommend that you withdraw that, or you amend the resolution, and I can try to identify what I understand the public purposes for each of these three parcels are. How are we going to do that? I'll just explain. In the third whereas clause, where I said that is otherwise disposed of for one or more public purposes, should read disposed of for the following public purposes, and then you would identify each of the three parcels and what the public purpose might be.
Okay.
From reviewing your memo, listening to the discussion this evening, including from the representative from Iverson's, as I understand it, the public purposes that would be served for parcel 024, which is the vacant Lake Court parcel, would be for conveyance to the DDA to use in financing business and economic development in the township. For parcel 019, which is 685 Harvey Lake Road, a public purpose could be to put the township in the position as the owner of the property to correct the ordinance violations that exist on the property and allow it to provide safer driveway access to an adjoining property owner, subject to agreement with that owner. And with respect to 022, which is the Iverson property, which is vacant on 59, the public purpose could be to acquire the property for reconveyance to the prior owner under an agreement that would require the prior owner to dedicate a portion of the sale proceeds to charitable foundations, organizations, or other township public purposes. That's as good as I can do.
Okay.
So that, in my opinion, if you modified that resolution in that manner, it would have the parcel ID numbers, it wouldn't have the legal description, it would have an address. Vacant properties, I don't think, have numerical addresses assigned to them. It already has the not more than purchase amount, and those could be the public purposes supporting each purchase, excuse me. I would note that the resolution also calls for consultants or outside agencies that could provide assistance to the township in making an educated decision as to whether to buy. Have been contacted. I have been contacted. I don't believe any other outside agency other than the county treasurer's office itself has been contacted. The examples given in the policy are the engineer, the auditor, State of Michigan, DNR, DEQ, etc. If the township auditors were contacted on this, I have to believe they would punt the public purpose issue to us or you.
They'd be throwing us back.
I don't know what, if any, helpful input the township engineers could provide. The State of Michigan has already declined to exercise its right of first refusal, and I haven't heard anything to suggest that any of these three properties have DNR or DEQ implications. So it's good to know you have this. It was from 2014, that's before I started attending your meetings, so I apologize that I didn't know about it, or I would have provided a different form of resolution.
Okay, well, I'd like to amend the resolution to add the descriptions as stated for the public purpose for each parcel. Is that what you're...
That is one way to go, to amend the resolution that you've already moved to adopt,
Move this
consistent with the changes outlined by the township attorney. That motion is seconded. You would then vote on the amendment. If the amendment passes, then you would vote on the resolution as
We had a
amended.
second on that, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
but we have to all vote on whether we accept the amendment.
Oh, yeah.
Second again?
Yes.
Okay. Need to vote on whether to accept the amendment? Who's up?
I vote yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Right, so there's a motion and a second on, or do we have to start over again with that?
No, you know.
On the resolution.
Resolution that was
So,
previously moved as amended before you for
All right,
a
let's
debate or a vote.
vote on it.
Are we done discussing?
Yep, we discussed
I
it
just want to
before.
say that the only reason I voted no was because I would like to have them separate. So. But I'm outnumbered.
Okay.
I have a question and concern. I did not know that the property in Harvard Lake was still occupied.
Yep.
Does the family or any descendants have any opportunity to, should make them aware that if they don't get this back, okay, that it's gonna go somewhere else?
They don't have a choice of it.
Well, they have a choice if we tell them,
No,
no?
that's the point, is that there's no sense to purchase that property because the public purpose would be then ill-fitted to that, because why are you purchasing a blighted piece of property and then expecting to give it back to the guy that's blighted it? The public purpose is to
He is a veteran.
yeah, to mitigate the
Well,
thing.
I'm just saying, if the descendants for some reason wanted to buy it back, and we're gonna clean it up under those rules.
Then we'd have to clean the property up.
Mr. Chairman?
Right.
Yes.
They've designed it so when the properties do go to auction, the previous owner cannot buy it back because, especially during the economic downturn, there's people purposefully letting their properties go because it would wipe out the mortgage, and then they could go to the tax sale, buy it back, and own their house free and clear for taxes.
Yep.
So, when you buy at auction, you have to swear that you don't have, and you sign a statement saying that you didn't own it, and you're not related to the person that owned it, and you don't know that person at all.
So the scenario in that particular piece of property is the property is owned by a bank. He's not paid a payment in 6 years to the bank. The tax payments were in escrow, so the taxes never got paid. And so the process that he went through is he refused to make his payments. And the bank pretty much compromised themselves, because by not forcing him to make his payments for 6 years and going into arrears on taxes, they kept asking him, well, give us $20. Well, if he gave them $20, then that put them back in the driver's seat. So that's what that's about.
No,
And then, so it's,
Okay,
okay.
got it.
All right, so let's vote on this.
All right, Mr. Salvia?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 All right, thank you.
I will
Motion carries.
provide the modified language in the morning.
Yeah, because we'll have to get that out pretty quick here. So.
I'll get up early.
Hey, stay late. Oh, we're doing that, aren't we?
We need to do the budget amendment too.
We've got the budget amendment for the health care by,
No.
no.
There's a budget amendment for the purchase of the property. It wasn't
Okay.
mentioned in the motion, so we should make another
Motion, all right, where's that one at?
It's the last page of that. This is the one that's for $33,720.
Okay. All right, so we need to make a budget amendment. Judy, would you like to, somebody make a motion?
I would move to accept the budget amendment for $33,720 for the approval of the land purchase that was presented in the previous motion.
Support?
Ryan supported. Okay, vote please.
Mrs. McDonald?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 All right, so, item K. J,
No,
where'd J go?
Budget amendment.
Where's the budget? This is a healthcare thing. There we go. Oh, I got it back. Put the tabs on it, I can't keep it. That's a budget amendment for a healthcare buyout, so,
This is just halfway through the year. Amy likes to take a look at how we're doing compared to budget, see if we're doing well, how we need to adjust anything, so that as we're working on preparing next year's budget, we have some good numbers to look at. So last year, we passed the change to the buyout program after we had approved the budget. And this is just shifting some money from the line that covers the premiums to the line that covers the buyouts, to reflect the fact that we're spending more on buyouts, or we're spending less on premiums, and just to make it, you know, so we're not having one line way short and one line way over.
make a motion.
Motion? I
Um,
move to approve the budget amendment for the healthcare buyout.
Support.
Moved and supported, vote please.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, Tammy, you're up on the next two here.
All right. On the staffing needs, I had emailed you guys, and you know about the Julie's current medical leave that she'll be on. She did have surgery last night, and she will be having a second surgery in 3 months, but each recovery from each surgery has a 6 to 8 week disability leave associated with it. In addition to that, prior to this whole situation, we had already been talking amongst ourselves about frequently facing situations where, one person, you have a 2 or 3 person department, one person's got vacation time scheduled, another person gets sick or has some emergency come up, and then you've got nobody working in the department for the day or a couple of days or whatever. And so we had already been discussing, well, how can we make sure that we're covering what we need to cover better? And so the issue with Julie sort of made it more, we need to really think about it right now. So we're proposing adding a floating position up to 29 hours a week to fill in, to help us cover our vacations and sicknesses and meetings and trainings and lunch breaks and all those things that happen.
So it'd be for all the departments throughout the township, just for them?
Yeah.
Just positions that haven't been filled. We don't have a part-time bookkeeper.
Right.
We don't have somebody in planning that's answering the phones. Beth's pretty much covering that. And, those 2 positions for sure.
Right.
So what department will this be under?
We're budgeting for it under supervisor's department.
We already have a line item for a maintenance worker that's vacant right now, so.
Well,
that
we'll, yeah,
position's
this will be a new line item, it's, if you look at the,
But the money's
amendment.
there already for, in the budget for an individual, so. Change the name from maintenance to floater.
right, now,
Don't like that
Definition
name.
for a floater, but never mind.
hiring someone takes time, we'll have to advertise and interview and do background checks, so it could well be a month before we are able to get someone in there, and in the meantime, we have absentee ballots that we need to process and work that we need to do. So I'm proposing that we cover that with seasonal part-time people. We do have Sue Gibson available, but I just spoke with her this afternoon. She can give me 12 hours a week. So I'm gonna need more than that. You know, in prior years, as I understand it, she has supplemented in doing election work on top of the 3 people in the office. And so I'm looking at potentially, you know, having some other people come on as seasonal part-time, as we're able to do with your approval.
Yeah, and while you're going through the whole interview
Yeah.
process, Sue could fill in because she already, there's no training there with her, so.
Well, I mean, 12 hours a week is not gonna get our absentee ballots processed.
Right, but, yeah,
She would certainly be part of the solution, but I think I will need more than just what Sue can do.
okay. I would move to approve a part-time seasonal position for up to 29 hours a week at the cost, or at the $14.50 per hour.
Actually, what I'm requesting
Oh,
is not a seasonal person, but a permanent
a permanent.
person. And then I will use our ability to do seasonal people. Seasonal meaning not permanent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They work, they're not expecting any guaranteed a number of hours over any period of time, where the floater would be ongoing, even after Julie
There's a
comes back.
motion right on the bottom.
And the seasonal person is already budgeted under the treasurer's office,
Right.
and we agreed
Seasonal
quite a while back to
employees.
share that position. It's just Sue can't fill it as much as we can utilize it, so
Right.
Tammy's asking for.
Ken has a question, if,
Just out of curiosity, this might be perfect timing. You're worried about background checks and everything else. We've got school employees that go through a vetting process when they're hired. With school coming out, why couldn't we, is there an ability to share background checks or clearances until you can hire somebody on a permanent basis? A floating person on the, you follow me?
Sure,
You got people that are off on summer break, probably still want to work over the summertime. They've already had the background checks, they've already been vetted. They're already, they're not looking for a long-term job, we're just looking for a fill-in for right now.
right, if I receive permission to supplement or, you know, bring in potential other people, I mean, I've talked to Jan Geisler, she's, you know, we know her, she's a known element, you know, there are teachers, but in the long term, I want this floater position to exist beyond summer, you know, going forward, and as long as we have the money to budget for it.
I would amend my motion to say that.
Okay, so you're saying approve the budget amendment as presented and approve the hiring of part-time seasonal employees as needed?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then-
Support.
And all those other words you said in there.
Right.
That's right, I just forgot I said it.
Okay. Any support on that?
I supported.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Okay, voting.
Oh,
I'm getting
oh, you did say the budget amendment, okay.
tired. Right. All right, Mrs. Chenoweth?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Okay. This is another issue I was already kind of working on in my head, and then Julie's absence has kind of brought it to the forefront quicker. But I'm asking to have the FOIA coordinator responsibilities be transferred over to deputy clerk, who is currently Dawn Mecklenburg. I think it will balance things better. Even if Julie was here, I was still wanting to do this because she's been putting in so much time with the bookkeeping department. And, so I hope you'll entertain this request.
I would move to transfer the responsibilities of the FOIA coordinator from Julie Kavalka to Dawn Mecklenburg.
Support.
All right.
Vote, please.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Does Dawn know this?
I'm not asking her. That's dangerous.
Oh, are we supposed to do that here?
Okay, now, the next item then is list of bills, May 25th, 2018, and June 13th, 2018, plus add-ons. The add-on is this check to Duck Lake, for the check to the Lake Savers LLC. It's kind of an advance approval so
So that we can do a hand check based on the decision of the Duck Lake Improvement Board to sign the contracts on Wednesday's meeting.
Okay.
Please.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve the list of bills as amended, plus add-ons?
Support. Did you just?
Oh, that motion, okay, I'll make a motion.
Rick made a
All right,
motion.
Judy, support.
Judy seconded it already.
Okay, vote please.
Vote yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, so the next item is over on the table.
We
Where,
did do public comment.
no, I'll do it before public comment.
Oh.
Over on the table is a model of a proposal that came in back in early spring. A fellow named Adam Boyd, who was, we met him because he built a playhouse for his daughters and didn't get a permit. So he came in to help him get the permit for this thing. But in the meantime, this playhouse went viral around the country. I mean, it was on all the news stations, magazines, and everything else about this father and his two daughters and this play thing. So he came to Judy with a proposal, and the proposal was to maybe build a playhouse at the library for kids. So that Judy came to talk to me, of course, being the kind of person that likes to get involved in different concepts like this. We both got really excited about the possibility of picking up where the library tried to go back in, I believe it was probably 2012, and that was to put in a play area at the library. And if you do recall, we did have the was it Charlotte? What was the young?
Scarlet.
Scarlet's.
Yeah.
Scarlett and her mother came in here to ask us if we would do a playground, and we got excited and offered the use of the property from the board level, and Commerce won out. Well, that kind of stuck in my mind, and it stuck in Judy's, and so Tammy's. So we formed a committee
Strategic plan.
to kind of, in our strategic plan, actually address the library as a place for that. So we went to the library. We got so there's the library director, the president of the library board, Tammy, Judy and I, Adam Boyd, and the youth director. And we sat down and kind of hammered out some concepts. So we said, Adam wanted to build, we realized that a playhouse for 2 kids wasn't going to really work in terms of if you had 50 kids there. So what could we really look at? And it came out down to what could you do that would be a really different play area, something that would we could get people on board to help finance. And this is all without taxpayers, commitment from taxpayers in terms of dollars from the township. So this will be a completely fundraised project. So we had a meeting, I think it was back in March, end of March, and the concept was, let's build a schoolhouse, Highland, something Highland centric. And Adam had drawn this sketch of a building, and I wish I would have brought the big picture here, but the sketch that he drew was a schoolhouse with a porch on the side of it. Well, the irony is that schoolhouses generally don't have porches on the side of them because they have big windows, and White Lake's got a schoolhouse, and everybody's got a schoolhouse. So what can we do that is Highland centric? And every day I sit at my desk and I look at a picture of that building, and that's the Spring Mills flour mill that used to be on Harvey Lake Road, right across the street from the junky piece of property. And it was Highland before Highland. So it was platted as Spring Mills. Actually, it was platted as Highland, but they called it Spring Mills. So then when the train came through, everything moved. That mill was there, I think, until the late 40s, early 50s, and it was torn down. So I said, what we do need is we need something like this. And when I showed the picture and Adam showed his sketch, the road side of that building has the porch on the side of it, and it looked just like Adam's sketch. And we went, this has got to be the building. So we decided we would go ahead and move forward and see if we could come up with some concepts. That was a Friday. So Saturday, I went to the model shop and I bought all the lumber and built that building Saturday and Sunday. And then over a couple more weekends and watching timber frame movie or videos on YouTube, 25 hours of them, I built my own little timber frame building there. And so this was the concept that we brought forward. And when I built the model, I showed it to people. Everybody go, wow, this is we could do this, and this would be cool. Now the idea is that that piece of property has a couple of drains in it for parking lots that don't, a parking lot that never got built. And what I could see is if you built the mill, you needed to have a pond, okay, something that simulated a pond, but that's not water, that's cement. So you drop the elevation to be level with the drain that's already dropped down there, and then you could build a natural amphitheater. So it's kind of, if you think about the AMP in Milford, they took a piece of land and they took another feature building, which is an architectural gem, and built this AMP there. Well, this is kind of Highland's version, but a lot more to it. So the idea was, if you do this at the library, this is a perfect example of how you bring adults and children together, and how you can help kids learn of history and things like that. So I had the model partially, or that didn't look like that when we found out that there was a grant available from a group called Kaboom. So I applied for the grant, and I did the drawings and stuff that you see there. There's 4 more drawings that go with it, and I sent that concept off, and we got accepted to move into the finals. The thing is that we weren't totally prepared to have that kind of a thing happen. So now we're in the finals, and it's due Friday at 11:59, and I'm down to the wire, and I've got to do all the calcs for the costs of this project and timelines and all that stuff. So I got a lot of work to do yet, but we're going to make this thing happen. Today I got a call from the grant people, the chairperson of the grant, Maggie from Washington, and she said, I just wanted to remind you, Friday's the deadline. And I said, well, I appreciate that. I said, I'm having some issues. They let you talk. I've called a couple times, and they let you talk through some things so you can kind of see if you're on the right track. And I said, I'm having a hard time with these playground fixtures. They're incredibly expensive. And you can get costs from some companies, but I know that the committee had looked at different play sets, and they focused on this one kind of naturalized logs and rocks and stuff that would fit more into this concept. I couldn't get a price out of them unless I let them design it. So it's kind of so I told her that. She says, we didn't pick your design for the play set. We picked it because of that. What that said to him was, we created enough apparently natural things for kids and parents to do together to get the exercises they might want. So you flood the the thing in the wintertime for ice skating, and you have hot chocolate and donuts and whatever in the mill. So the mill's a full-size building. Under the deck, you can have that as a stage under there so that you can have puppet shows or concerts. The idea is to put a basement in it so that you can store tables and chairs and tents and things. You could have somebody decide they want to rent the space for a wedding. They could set a wedding up on the pond. You can have fake boats like that one would be with casters on it and rubber tips on oars that kids can play. They can rollerblade. So it has so many features to it that doesn't even get into the playset part. And when I was told that, I realized that what we really hit was, let's chill at the mill. And the deck is there for adults to be interactive. If you've gone to play areas with nieces, nephews, grandkids, I don't have kids, so I've always had to go with my nieces and nephews, there's no place for adults. You hang outside the fence or you sit on an uncomfortable chair. This one's designed to be inclusive. It's also will be designed to be ADA inclusive. So the flume, you'll be able to drop ADA, that'll come around and go into a higher grade, then you'll come around and you'll go over a dam, a fake dam, of course, and then you can do a roller slide on the dam so kids can slide down the water chute, so to speak. And then there'll be another path that'll take them down into the pond area, so you're not excluding anybody in this project. So far, everybody that Judy and Tammy and I have discussed this with, it's been a, when can we start? What can we do to be involved? Now the issue has been, the reason you haven't seen it earlier and still not going to hear about it publicly, is we have 3 millages. This could be a millage killer. If you're asking people to donate money to something like this, they might get really excited about it and then go, wow, that's a better idea than giving money to so-and-so. Or if you're going to build this at the library, why should we give the library a millage? So there's little things like that we had to think about. So we're going to roll this out. And if you remember the park that we proposed next door here, that got rolled out through the spinal column with an 8-page. We're going to do the same kind of thing with that. And I think what's interesting about this is that by doing that concept with the park next door, it opened a lot of, if you notice, there was a pond in that. And all of the features of that park were things that were stuff that I talked to the landscape architects. We need this. We need an amphitheater. We need a pond for kids to play around. Well, this is a pond you can play in and not drown. It's got an amphitheater that not the level of the amp, but kid friendly and adult friendly, because you can put chairs up on a hard surface. So it has a bunch of features that are really, I think, really positive. And tonight, when we were discussing the Iverson thing, one of the things that Gary had said was, is there a public purpose, a donation or something like that? And I looked at Mark and I said, and he shook his head. So there's avenues that we can look at and say, what are the things we can do to help move this along? There's a business that says, okay, I can help on this. Even if it hadn't come along this way, they had agreed to do some help on this project. So this is where we can garner all the good that we've done as a community, or with our community roundtable, with the fact that we've gotten businesses, the DDA, everybody's on the same page right now in our community. The negativity is so low, and it's phenomenal. This is a perfect opportunity to do a community-wide event that brings people in and builds this thing out. We can do, it actually has a timber frame inside that building, and the idea there is that you can order the timber frame. They'll make all the parts for you, pegs and everything, and then they ship it and you assemble it. So you do a barn raising. So then we've got some people that have sawmills, and we're looking at cutting some of the white pine down that are in the woods there and planking them so that we can plank the building with the planks just like it would have been done originally. And so it's taking and bringing the community in and bringing business and private individuals and kids and everybody involving them in a big event. It's the kind of thing that can make the same effect that Adam Boyd had with just a little dollhouse. It can go viral. And this is something that there's nothing else like it anywhere. And that was what the Kaboom people said. Most of their projects go for between $10,000 and $30,000 that they donate to. Most of them are small little spaces the size of this room. And when they saw what we put together, they know that it won't, they're up to $80,000 won't pay for this. But they're confident that $80,000 would be well spent to put this thing forward. So she said if you're going to concentrate on a playground and playground equipment, we would have never put you into the second level. So that is what they bought in. Yes.
What's the
Brad?
timetable to build something like this? Like, what is the goal to have it done by?
What'll happen is it'll come out in the paper. We'll have an event over on the site with the model, and like they did at the AMP in Milford. We'll put this thing to a public presentation, and also it's the kind of wine and cheese event where you bring in the people that you're hoping are going to invest and let them buy a piece of the pie. That sets up the level where you know where your investment is. You start your thermometer to show where you're at. The next steps are is that we won't be able to build this in the fall, but we might, if the funding works correctly, we could certainly do the land balancing and get everything ready so that the building can be put in, so that maybe even get the pond base in. Then the springtime, we'd go at it with the mill. It's possible to still do the mill in the fall, but realistically, you want to make sure you fundraise as much as you can to make sure that we get it done. And so there's a lot of opportunities for in-kind donations on this. I know that I can make it happen from my skill set, so I know what I can do to really reduce the expenditures on it, and I'm willing to go to the wall, all the way to the wall for that. But there's people like Steve, who's a builder. We can get him and some other carpenters and some people that want to work on the building, and bring in some private, homeowners that may want to think about a timber frame project and go through the process of teaching how that works, and make them watch 25 hours of YouTube. So that's where we're at. I've been trying to get it presented. We haven't really had a good opportunity to do it. I did show it to the Planning Commission. They got to see it a few weeks back. It's improving in thought and ideas, so let everybody know that what you have seen, and spread the word. So on that note, thanks for putting up with that, and public comment.
Don't get me wrong, I think that's a great idea, and I'd really like to see it. But I think you're gonna cause some problems with one of your other pet projects, which is the Red Poppy. Because if you use the downstairs for weddings and banquets and everything, you're gonna be drawing business away from the Red Poppy.
No, the basement wouldn't support a wedding. It'd be an outdoor
You
event.
mentioned that, a wedding, so.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying somebody could rent it for a wedding. I don't know who'd do that, but they might. The basement would be for storage of accoutrements for the play.
You could do a tent wedding probably on the open space.
I mean, you could have, there's so many different things you could do with it, and the truth is that if you're gonna be in business, competition is good. That's the same thing with 59 West. 59 West could sponsor events. There's ways that you could do things with your own business to promote them. And
Well, and people could have events in our parks. Currently, we have pavilions in the parks that they could use for weddings.
Graduation parties.
They already have the option, and this is just really another kind of a park thing.
so,
Do you think we could sell this to Disney?
You never. The letters of support we're getting are
I don't like Florida. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Well, thanks for your comment, Dennis, I
I
appreciate
hope that does go forward. I really, my wife and I both support it, and we hope to see that it happens, and what we volunteer our own time to work there. And
Well, I appreciate that. Write his name down, we're gonna get volunteer.
I was being a little tongue-in-cheek there.
No, I appreciate the comment. So, on that notice,
Any other?
you have something you want to
public
say?
I just want to say thank you to the three that have agreed to join our promotional assessment center. With Lieutenant Senators retiring, we have the position open. It's always been in the past, it was just my decision. Hey, you're my buddy, you're my pal, you're promoted to lieutenant. I bring it to the board and it was up from there. With the new assessment center, kind of like we did with our fire marshal, we're gonna put them to the test. I want you to see why we're promoting these, why these candidates should be the ones moving up to the top of the food chain, I guess is what you call it. Mr. Howe, Mr. Salvia, Mr. Connell, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Motion to adjourn?
We're adjourning. We don't have to move to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, I
Just
saw that.
bang
too.
together.
No.